Hello everybody and welcome back to Ruler 101. And this is a very special week, not only because we have our contest winner announcement video coming up, check for that in the next couple of days, but also because we have one of the greatest rulers of all time. He came into the game, he left his mark, he slapped the meta and said, "This is my meta," and then he took over everything and became awesome, and he's still really good today. Talking, of course, about the powerhouse, the wonderful genius that remains and sticks. He's got the power to stay in there for the long haul. Grimm, the master of fairy tales. That's not his title, but it's the title that I give him because he's all about that fairy tale. His first ability of his amazing abilities is to pay the will at the attribute cost of fairy tale resonators with will of any attribute. Any of them. Doesn't matter what it is. Any. Just, you want to pay a hook with green will? Go for it. You want to play a Gretel with red will? Fine. It's cool. You're good. You want to play a Cheshire cat for one light will instead of one water will? Be my guest. But that alone does not make his does not make him great. Because later on, they actually printed another substandard character, who I won't even get into. But they tried reprinting his ability to a lesser effect on multiple different cards, and it didn't work at all. Like, because they had made it so there wasn't will of any attribute, it was for Millium, it was light attribute only, and for, what is it? Welser. Welser was fire. Yeah, Welser? Yeah, Welser was fire. And I think they also did Adalbert was fire for any... Or did he just need fire? I don't know. But his abilities have never been successfully replicated in a less good way. Which I'm okay with because as they are, they make him really powerful, but also very limited in scope. But his second ability is what really sets him apart from other rulers. One will. Discard a fairy tale, and you can search your deck for any fairy tale you want. Doesn't have to match the cost, doesn't have to match anything. It just has to be a fairy tale for a fairy tale. You just absolute exchange through your deck. You're getting your grave filled with cards. You're getting whatever you need. As long as you have that one will, you are getting any card that you want. Because fairy tales are one of the most relevant types as far as resonators go. They have existed through all the sets, they've always been a thing, and there's always at least one good one in each set. And sometimes that one good one is a bit better than the rest. Looking at you, Hook! Looking at you. But besides that, he functions on his ruler side without a rest ability. That's important in my opinion, because if it was a rest ability to search for the fairy tale, it'd still be kind of good, but it wouldn't be nearly as good. Because he's going to call a stone every turn, so you can very effectively rely on always getting a stone every single turn. This is really good because having that consistent stone base and never having to worry, oh, should I flip? Should I do this special thing? Oh no, can actually put you ahead a little bit. Just not having to worry about that. But I have designed 3 beautiful decks with 3 different themes for you today, and honestly, I think you'll all enjoy what I have planned. But there are 2 cards that I would like to go over in advance. They are present in all 3 decks in their base, and if you're running Grimm, they will most likely be in your deck. Starting off with the Fairy Tale of Fairy Tales, one of the most hotly debated topics in the entirety of Force of Will since its inception. Boom! Cheshire Cat, the Grinning Remnant. A 0/200 Fairy Tale Resonator for 1 blue. Enter. Draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand onto the top of your main deck. Continuous. This card cannot be targeted by spells or abilities. Continuous. When this card is put into a graveyard from the field, shuffle it into its owner's main deck. So there's a little bit to unpack it. First of all, he enters the field, draws you 2 cards, and then you have to put one back, but that's any card in your hand. It's straight card draw. So it procs like draw type effects if you've got any of those, but besides that, yeah, Morgiana is super important, but besides that, it's looking at the top and just going, what of these 2 do I want? Oh, how about this super expensive thing that I'm never going to play? And then when he dies, so if you have like a sack outlet or something, when he dies, you can shuffle your deck. So you could put something like that you're not going to play, like a hook, for example. You could take that hook and put it right on top of your library and be like, I don't care, shuffle it away, bye-bye, hook, I'm going to search you later. But he's a super powerful card. He's a 1-drop, and it's an eternal blocker. Overall, Cheshire Cat is one of the best cards ever, and she is especially good because she is the ultimate fairy tale 1-drop. But as far as 1-drops go, that's basically I think she's basically the top of the top of the tippy top. At least as far as fairy tales go. But as far as 2-drop fairy tales, in a universal sense, Gretel. 1 green and 1 for 200/200. Believe me, at one point these stats were actually okay. Enter, reveal the top card of your Magic Stone deck. If it's a wind Magic Stone, put it into your Magic Stone area. Okay, so this could be done as long as it is a wind stone in some fashion. It can even be a special Magic Stone that counts as wind. It's going to put it into your field. Boom. There you go. Easy. Easy. Fantastic. It's some of the best ramp that you can ever hope for. Just as a card, Gretel has been used in nearly every Wanderer control deck to ever exist, because getting that stone up, and it's untapped, by the way, so it's not rested when it comes into your field. So you don't really have to, like, she effectively costs 1, ramps you a stone, and then that stone can be used with whatever will you have to potentially save up for like a cancel or play something on their turn. Anyway, those were the two big boys that I wanted to cover before we got really into before we got into the deck lists themselves. And of course, I think I'm going to have to do a bit of a style change for this one. Let's go. Oh, hi there. Welcome to the first of the Grimm lists. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pink? What is he thinking? Purple is more his color by a long shot. That's a good question, but unlike certain dickheads in the other room, I know I frickin' slay in this pickwig. So, we'll continue on with this list, which I have affectionately dubbed Girl Power Grimm. Why? Because you'll see why. Starting off, we have the beautiful, wonderful, always relevant as long as you're playing only green stones, Little Red, Fairy Tale of Air. Now, she saw play right after she came out, but recently there's been this Wanderer resurgence where she makes a comeback in some Green Grimm decks, and the reason that she is because she can progressively get bigger, and because you're getting a stone a turn, possibly more with Gretel, you're going to be able to put her, she's going to just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the fact that she will always have swiftness, because you will control a non-special wind magic stone, because in this, you're running only fairy tales, therefore you're running only basic stones, so that the likes of Hook and what is the big one? Jubei from the new set, and just anything that destroys special magic stones can go bye-bye. This mono green type Grimm deck really was the only thing that stood against that super broken time spinning witch deck when when she started using the Bloody Moon on turn 1, and then all your special stones were kaput. But yeah, because of her, Mono Green Grimm is amazing. But she's not the only awesome femme fatale that we have going on in this list. Next up, we have another really good aggro, what is it, fairy tale. Red Riding Hood, Rainbow to the Heavens. I mean, of course, it's still Red Riding Hood, but this one is a 4/4 for 1 red, Will of Hope, and she has Seal 3. So if you have 3 magic stones, it's gonna be easy. She will have flying and swiftness. So, okay, picture this. Turn 1, you drop a little red Fairy Tale of Air, right? Swing, she's a 4/4 swiftness. Turn 2, you drop a Gretel, and then you get a stone off that. Then with that stone, you play a Red Riding Hood Rainbow of Heaven. Then your Fairy Tale of Air swings for 6, and Rainbow to the Heavens swings for 4 in the air. That's 1,000 on turn 2 that you're swinging for. This deck gets aggressive and nuts really fast. But that's not even the tip of the iceberg. We've only barely touched this deck, because we've still got the biggest combo to ever hit Grimm ever. Rapunzel, the long-haired princess. Now, I need to really break down this card and why it's just so amazing. So, first of all, a 600/600 for 3. At the time, those stats were really good, but now we can still work with it. 2 white and 1, it doesn't matter because she's a fairy tale, so she just costs 3. Continuous. This card doesn't recover during the recovery phase. Hold on. Reserve your judgments, okay? Reserve your judgments until you hear how amazing this gets. Activate. Rest a recovered resonator you control other than Rapunzel. Recover this card. Okay. So already she can sub-attacks for your other resonators. However, she also has Activate, Rest. Target resonator gains +200/+0 and flying until end of turn. Okay, so let's just she's a turn 3, so you'll probably play her on turn 3. So turn 4, if you play a 1 resonator on your first turn, 2 resonators on your second turn, because Gretel something, or just 2 1-drops. Then on turn 3 you play Rapunzel, and you just leave it all there. On turn 4, before your recovery, you rest Rapunzel. Give herself +200/+0 in flying. Then you rest your first resonator, she recovers. Rest her again to give her another +200. So she's now 1,600 with flying. Then you rest your third resonator to recover her and leave her recovered. Okay? So then it moves on to the main phase. Then to combat, she's 1,600. Swing. Rest a resonator. Swing. Rest another resonator. Swing. Rest your third resonator. Swing. You just dealt 4,000 damage. 4,000 damage on turn 4. This card is godly. If they don't have a blocker, they are actually dead by turn 4. She is just, and if you have more 1-drops than that, say it goes a little later. Okay, so you don't even have to put it all into her, because admittedly that's what I would recommend, because then you can just get a bunch of huge swings. However, if they have a bunch of blockers, and you know those blockers are eventually gonna wear Rapunzel down and kill her, you don't have to keep throwing her. Or you can give the +2/+0 to other things on your field, just so you can swing with this armada all at once. It's super cool. She combos super well with all the 1-drop fairy tales. You can even use your Cheshires because it's not a targeting ability. You can just go crazy with her and just pump her. Then after recovery, swing. Explosion! And if you cap her off with a buff spell of any type, she becomes that much more powerful. But she's not the last girl in our lineup, because we have one more before we get to the only boy in the set. Some might argue there are two because of Cheshire, but we're not getting into that today. The last girl, Dreaming Girl Wendy. A 200/300 for 1 light will. Fairy Tale, so it's one of whatever. Whenever another Fairy Tale Resonator enters your field, recover this card. This card gains +200/+200 as long as you control a special magic stone and control no special magic stones. So, she's an instant 4/5 in this deck because you have no special magic stones whatsoever. And she doesn't require a certain type, so your green stones are fine. And then as long as you control Eternal Boy Peter Pan, this card cannot be attacked and gains flying. That's not super relevant. Peter Pan is the only boy. However, we don't play him for that effect. But anyway, so Dreaming Girl Wendy. Turn 1, Wendy. Turn 2, Swing Wendy for 4/5. They block with a chump blocker. Then you play a Gretel. Oh look, a Fairy Tale. Recover Wendy. Swing with Wendy. Then deal 400 to their face because they probably don't have another Resonator at this point. Then off that Gretel, you play another 1-drop. You play the you play that awesome one of the little reds. Either the one that has swiftness and flying, or the one that has swiftness and is a 6/6. Play one of those, recover Wendy, swing with whatever you just played. That's a whole lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. And, like, it just compounds and goes crazy. And it's so early that your opponent's just left reeling and they're like, why is half my life gone? What did I do? What did you do? Why did you do this? But anyway, to cap off the deck, because it's mainly just little guys, we have Eternal Boy Peter Pan. He goes with the Wendy just to give her flying, to give her that extra, you know, get it in. However, that's not what we play. Why we play him is because when he enters your field, search your deck for a Fairy Tale Resonator with total cost 1 and put it into your field. Then shuffle your deck. Okay, so he searches Cheshire Cat. Because the enter keyword has been updated, Cheshire now triggers when you search him. He grabs a Little Red Fairy Tale of Air, Swiftness, whatever strength. He grabs Little Red Riding Hood Rainbow to the Heavens, Swiftness Flying most likely because he costs 3. Whatever is in the deck that your heart imagines. He's also a 5/6 Fairy Tale with flying, so there's that. And he gives your Wendy's flying, and he caps off the deck and makes it just oh so beautiful and nice. Now this next card is kind of a shared card between these two decks, so I'm gonna give it to you before. I didn't want to include it with the Fighting Girls because she's not really part of that. She just kind of helps it along. But I'm talking about Glinda the Fairy, a 2-drop Fairy Tale. Target Resonator cannot be blocked until end of turn. Banish this card, cancel target normal spell unless its controller pays 2. She's not part of the punching squad, however, she enables the punching squad to get a huge hit in. She basically, super late in the game when you've got like 9 stones and you have your Little Red, you can play Glinda and make it so your Little Red can swing in for that last little bit of damage because she can't be blocked, you know. Just fun things you can do. But she's in this deck as well as the next deck, just because she has that super versatility, and because she can cancel a normal spell. That's any spell that isn't a creature, just mind you. And yeah, there you go. It's pretty awesome. I love it. And I also love the fact that I found yet another excuse to put on a wig and makeup. So thank you all for that. Anyway, I think for the next, remember Glinda because she's part of it, but for the next list, I'm going to need another style change. Waka-poo! Hello everyone, and welcome to obviously what is the finest in Grimlists. I'm talking of course about the Grimlist that focuses on control. Hard control using spells like Gretel and Glinda alongside a myriad of cancels to ensure that your opponent's early game really doesn't exist. and that you have time to ramp into something powerful, something with finesse, something that is, oh, elegant, to say the least. Talking, of course, about the Brutus, beautiful, control fairy tale, Captain Hook. He is a 5-cost fairy tale resonator. His color doesn't matter. He is a brutish 1000, capable of throwing all kinds of fists. When he enters your field, choose one. Put up to 2 target special magic stones on top of their owner's magic stone decks in any order, or return up to 2 target resonators to their owner's hand. I especially love this ability, because there is no game more fun than one where your opponent simply doesn't get to play the game. That is, of course, my opinion. But the reason I love it even more is because even if your opponent is some kind of crazy mirror, or in some kind of crazy red deck, red stones only nonsense, you can still hit their resonators. He's not dead. Also, being a 1000 is nothing to sneeze at. But moving on, we have our next card, which comes in and just explodes everything. A very good control card that I believe is quite undervalued. Yes. Etna, the Snow Queen. A beautiful 3-drop resonator, fairy tale / queen, proper, attack 700, defense 700, awakening X, enter, rest X target resonators. They cannot recover as long as this card is on the field. That effect is godly, because you can target whatever they want, whatever they have. It doesn't go back to their hand, so they can't play it again. They're sitting there on the field rested, so you don't have to feel bad about hitting something worthless with it. Because it's not giving them another enter, and it's not putting it in the graveyard for them to use. It's locking it on the field, so that they can never use it again. But she also has another ability, Continuous. Whenever this card deals damage to your opponent, he or she discards a card. Delicious. Again, what more fun is there than when your opponent can do nothing against your onslaught of control magic and bounce? Well, besides that, I think we'd best move on to the cards that finish the game for you. Not fairy tales, but spells. The one I would like to mention before moving on to some of my more control-y cards that I recommend, Schrodinger's Observation. 1 black, 1 white, and X. Choose one. This card deals 400 damage multiplied by X to target resonator. You gain that much life. Or this card deals 300 damage multiplied by X to target player. You gain that much life. Now, even if you're not closing out the game with this, which, by the way, it's amazing for closing out games, you are still swinging life, or even destroying one of their resonators, and gaining tons of life. The momentum swing that this card can bring is amazing. Basically, if you nuke a resonator with it, you're going to gain at least, well, you're definitely putting at least 3 into it, so you'll gain at least 1200 life. Or, if you're sapping 900 life from your opponent for 3, you're going to gain 900 as well. But if you, yes, 3 for X. But if you put that one more in and make it a 6 cost, you'll drain them for 12 and gain 12. Like I said, you can close out a game with this, especially when you combine it with the incredible ramp ability of Grimm in green, with all that. But, besides that, we have our more control lineup. I really only want to mention one card that has recently seen a resurgence back into Wanderer because of its unbanning. Ruined Story. Wait, I don't believe it was... I don't believe it was ever banned in Wanderer, but it was unbanned in New Frontiers recently. Anyway, it was really underrepresented. 1 green, 1 darkness, For a chance quick cast, choose one. Your opponent banishes a Resonator. Or flip over 2 revealed stories in your extra deck. That, admittedly, has no effect anymore. Or put target Resonator from your graveyard into your hand. Or cancel target spell your opponent. Cancel target spell unless your opponent pays 1. So you can get your hooks back, or you can stop their 1 card that they tapped out to play. Or if they play a sort of one big Resonator deck, you can play it and make them banish it and just ruin their day. There are so many modes to this that I consider it a worthy investment, no matter how, even if it, I believe this card would still see play if it costs, ow, 1 more. That does it for this deck. I hope you all enjoyed the wonderful strategy that is Control. Thank you, and we'll see you in my next style change, baby! Let's go! Welcome to the most brutal Grimm list of all time. Let's get right into it, because it's metal as fuck. Anyway, it's called Grimm Emo Weenie Hut Jr. It's called Emo because it runs mostly Darkness Will to activate Darkness cards and Darkness abilities. But Weenie Hut Jr. is because of the strategy. Weenie Hut Jr. you typically drop, your deck is filled with 1 and 2 drops, and the entire deck focuses on having as many out as you can at one time, and then just exploding your opponent's face with 1 gigantic swing after you buff them all in some way or another. But let's jump into the Resonators that you'll be running in your awesome Grimm deck that you're gonna build. Starting with 2 of the same Resonator, just 1 printed in the future, so it's a little less strong. Tinkerbell the Fairy, a 100/100 Resonator for 1 Light Will. Flying, this card gains +200/+200 for each other Fairy Tale Resonator you control. So, Tinkerbell starts off as a 1/1, then she turns into a 3/3, then a 5/5. She can get insane! Even more insane is her older version, Tinkerbell the Spirit. Continuing, she's a 0/0 for 1 white. This card gains +200/+200 for each Fairy Tale you control. She starts off as a 200/200 and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. 100 more power. However, she doesn't have flying. Super disappointing, man. Honestly, she can still get huge though, especially when you buff her, but that's for later. Next up we have your pivotal 2-drop that you're going to be slamming down once your board is filled. Team Taro. Fairy Tale for 1 darkness and 1. 600/600 attack and defense. Precision. You're going to be murdering their Resonators. When this card enters the field, put a +100/+100 counter on it for each Fairy Tale and non-Fairy Tale beast you control. And considering every freaking card in this set, in this deck, is a Fairy Tale or a spell. With the exception, I think, of 1 Resonator. No, I took that out. But, because they're all Fairy Tales, he's gonna hit the board and be freaking swole! Oh my god! I can't wait to see how big he gets. But that's not all. You're gonna need to buff all those weenies because they're pathetic in their attack and defense. Obviously, you're running things like the 1-drop, Little Red, Swiftness, Flying. But to buff them all, you have another 2-drop, Sleeping Beauty. She sleeps so hard, it makes other people stronger. Fairy Tale Human for 2/0/700. You may choose not to recover this card during the recovery phase. Pay 1 rest. Resonators you control gain +200/+200 as long as this card is rested. So, you play her. All of your Tinkerbells get bigger. You rest her. All of your Tinkerbells get even bigger. Oh my god. Not to mention, she also buffs the non-Tinkerbell Resonators. She makes herself super vulnerable while doing it though because she's rested. But having 700 defense makes her super hard to deathify. Also in this deck, the most expensive Resonator that we're running is the most metal of them all. Grimm, the Pitch Black Vampire. 2 Darkness and 2 Will for a 900/900 Vampire Fairy Tale. 2 types unseen together since this came out. Flying. When this card enters the field, put target Resonator from your graveyard into your hand. Then he has the greatest activate ability on any Fairy Tale ever, besides Rapunzel. I have to admit that. 2 Darkness. J Resonators your opponent controls gain -X100/-X100 until end of turn, where X is the number of Fairy Tales you control. Because you're playing Gretel and ramping your Darkness Stones out, this ability can be activated so many times and destroy your opponent's board. Chump blockers are a thing of the past. And because it's based on the number of Fairy Tales you control, and you're spamming out Fairy Tales with your Weenie Hut Jr. style, this is gonna be an enormous slaughter. Also, it puts all their strong Resonators in range for your smaller ones to kill. But mainly, he gets 1 card back, which is another Resonator that you're gonna drop. It's gonna be great. Finally, I'm gonna show you the chant that I used to buff all my things for a game-ending swing. Talking, of course, about Sprint of the Beast Lady. Now you could say Bonsai Attack is better, but I say go to hell! Hear me. Sprint of the Beast Lady. 2 green and 1. Because you're running Gretel, everything's a green stone. So you're always gonna have 3. Spell chant. J Resonators you control gain +600/+600 until end of turn. It's gonna be so strong. Your little fairies, your tiny dinky fairies, become huge! And they kill your opponent, they smack their face, and they wipe their entire board. So, you got the gist of it? You play little guys, turn them into big guys, and then swing at your opponent's face with a swole fist of vengeance! Thank you. Now I'll send it back to the original style, or person, whatever, for the outro. Thank you all. Well, that was certainly interesting. Thank you all for watching. Remember, keep an eye out for that contest winner announcement video. Also, a special shout out to my co-host for the evening. I don't know if you noticed him back here. My adorable pupper. Come here, Hercules. There's Hercules. He's cute and he's adorable. And he likes hugs and treats. And this is the fucking cutest thing ever. Oh my god. But thank you all for watching. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. I like seeing those. And I also love seeing comments below. Tell me what you thought of those 3 lists. If you want the list themselves, you can find the gacha logs down in the comment or down in the description of the video. Let me know what you thought. And remember, keep an eye out for that winner video. Who knows? Maybe you'll win the deck in the shirt. Ooh. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye!